and that fence will either say they want it or they don't. If that person wants it, then they'll put the merchandise in a separate location, or sometimes they will hand it over to them, and then the cash is transacted.
On one particular stakeout, this investigator documented no fewer than 70 such transactions in a 2-hour time frame.
Oh, hey, hang on just a second.
Here, the investigator spots 2 individuals lingering at a bus stop, and her cop sense tells her something is up. She recognizes one of the men from the ongoing investigation.
Okay, over by the newspaper stand and the bus stop, the guy leaning down, he's got the merchandise right there in a white bag. He's looking at it, the guy in the backpack. That's a deal going down right there. See the guy taking off his backpack now? So basically it's, you know, they're transferring the merchandise to these backpacks. Whatever he doesn't get rid of, it will go somewhere else. Once his backpack is completely full, he will leave or have somebody come pick that backpack up and give him a new backpack.
These low-level fences with backpacks are basically mules, but investigators must follow them to see who they're selling to. It can be a difficult game to play.
It's very hard to follow sometimes. It's very hard to follow the merchandise because they're using different modes of transportation, bus, cable car, taxis, bicycle, or on foot. The bags are sometimes handed to other individuals at a bus stop, and then they take the backpack and take it to different locations.
It's a non-stop business conducted boldly, out in the open, seemingly undeterred by passersby.
There's another individual in a white hat next to the blue coat. Those are buyers, and they'll direct people.
The buyers generally oversee these street transactions and are usually the ones who dole out cash to the boosters. Our cameras make their way closer to the action when this crew finally realizes they're being taped and attempt to conceal their identity before scattering. Not too long after that, we return to the same spot with a hidden camera and find Mr. Whitecap right back in business.
But you're seeing exactly how the flow is going, right?
I am.
This is what will happen all day long.
In many communities where police are stretched thin fighting drugs and violent crime, boosters can easily slip through the cracks. And that's why major retailers like Walgreens, Target, and others have begun to assemble their own investigative teams to tackle organized retail crime.
How aggressive is Walgreens about pursuing boosters?
The retailers are taking it very seriously today, and we aggressively pursue and recruit individuals that can go after these types of people.
At drugstores like Walgreens, boosters are targeting over-the-counter meds like Prilosec, Zantac, and Pepcid, mainly because these items fetch a good price on the black market, and their small size makes them easy to steal in great quantity.
This entire warehouse is filled with stolen items then?
Yes.
Hot items?
Yes. Everything in this warehouse was recovered from somebody who shoplifted it from a store.
I mean, all of this is stolen, boosted merchandise, right?
This is merchandise that's been boosted, sunglasses.
Boxes full. I mean, how much is something like this?
Probably around $40.
So
Such
$40.
as like a box of dieback test strips, that would be $50 just for the small box.
And they're taking shelves full.
They'll take thousands of dollars worth at a time, and I can take this box and make $15 on it. This is a booster here. This is $17,000. It was taken in the afternoon by one individual who's making $5,000 a week.
And Biggs says that booster gangs are getting increasingly sophisticated about their methods and means of stealing, even using babies as convenient covers for getting merchandise out the door.
These are booster bags. This one here is a baby's blanket.
Over a stroller, right?
Over a stroller that's lined in tin foil.
So they're able to just load up the baby stroller with
a bag like that would
stuff.
hold a couple $1,000s worth of over-the-counter medications.
Here, a man who appears to be handicapped enters a high-end clothing retail store. With sales agents out of sight, the supposedly disabled man helps himself to thousands of dollars of expensive suits by using a hidden compartment in his wheelchair.
So what do you want workaday boosters to know about Walgreens and how they're going to go after them, how hard they're going to go after them?
Well, we're definitely going to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. I mean, we are not, just because you're not apprehended when you come into a Walgreens store, don't think that you're not going to get apprehended. That intelligence is passed on to us, and then we come looking for you.
A ring of thieves is wreaking havoc on drugstores throughout the Southwest. That is until this booster is caught in the act at a Walgreens in Texas and decides to cooperate with investigators.
At the first, I'm getting nervous because I thought he's gonna know who I am, but I don't think that he's gonna find out.
It takes a few days, but John eventually regains the confidence of his fence, Rico, who then sends the witness back out onto the road to boost again.
They really trust me because I'm the best, one of the best doing this.
But unbeknownst to Rico, John will not be boosting on this road trip. Instead, he will hide out with investigators who are assembling a load of marked Walgreens merchandise for John to sell to the unsuspecting fence.
This is the hot stuff. And most of those products we list as hot and super hot. And these are the super hot products.
It's pretty much all products that are considered fast-moving consumer goods. We call it FMCG. Those are products that people want to buy.
All these items come from the retailer's warehouse and have been specifically set aside for undercover stings like this one.
$30 a piece. Retail. It adds up fast.
The total amount of merchandise in this room exceeds $24,000 in retail. It will be enough, John believes, to make Rico very happy.
Pretty big, pretty good. I was working hard.
All that remains is a phone call from John to the fence to set up the transaction.
You could just say what today's date is.
We're gonna record a call from the fence. Hello? Ajá, papá. ¿Qué te iba a decir? ¿Qué onda, Chele? ¿Crees que me puedes poner el otro billete mañana en la mañana? Mañana sí, pero ahora no puedo. ¿Querés que te dé el número de cuenta de una sola vez? He told me that call him tomorrow to give him the account number and everything so he can put the money for me.
Good.
The deal is set, and investigators have the fence hooked on the line. Now all they have to do is reel him in. At this point, the Walgreens team will hand off its investigation to a joint task force of local law enforcement and the FBI.
And law enforcement now will move it on now to the next level, making sales and contacts and that type of thing.
The hope, of course, is that the investigation will end up in a scene like this one from Chicago in 2004.
It's called the biggest fencing bust ever in the Chicago area.
Outside, the business looked like an average mom-and-pop store, but in reality, police say, Central Grocery was a magnet for shoplifters looking to sell stolen merchandise.
Everything from iPods to infant formula went through this store.
The multi-million-dollar Chicago bust all began with the cooperation of a busted booster named Jesus Hernandez. This interview was conducted by investigators from Walgreens and the Cook County Sheriff's Department shortly after Jesus' arrest in October of 2004.
How many days a week would you shoplift?
Every single day. So now I'm just going to take it off the rack.
Like many in the boosting game, Jesus' shoplifting went hand in hand with drug addiction.
That's how I would go. I would get myself in debt because I would go in the morning. I wouldn't have no money. I would go in the morning and borrow money from my friends.
So he had to feed that habit, and to feed that habit, he had to steal, a minimum of a couple $1,000s a day.
The owner is Mohammed.
After his arrest, in exchange for a reduced charge, Jesus gave up the name and address of his fence. Investigators quickly set up surveillance. What they saw from the outside was a typical mom-and-pop storefront, except the business seemed to be running in reverse.
It's common to see people leaving a grocery store carrying bags. It's not common to see people entering grocery stores carrying bags. In this particular location, had more people bringing merchandise in than they were bringing merchandise out.
How many other people do you know that sell their stolen goods at Central Grocery?
I mean, it's a constant flow all day. I mean, you're talking 200-300 people a day.
The man seen here, standing in the doorway, is actually a security guard hired by the fence to keep an eye on the boosters. And for good reason. There was a lot of loose cash inside the store.
We'd start every day with about $20,000, and that was to pay people bringing in goods, stolen goods.
This video is from a hidden camera worn by an undercover officer posing as a booster. The merchandise in this case is a hot load of Nicorette gum, $400 worth at retail. And